Hey everybody, this is the 11th turn for my 5 Parsecs from Home campaign, which will also serve as kind of a season finale to the current chapter of my adventure. And as such, I have an exciting battle where I'll be facing off against a certain callous mercenary here on Bricks and Blocks Gaming. 5 Parsecs from Home is the solo sci-fi adventure wargame written by Ivan Sorensen and published by Modifius Entertainment. I'm Alan. Let's get to the bricks and blocks of the 11th turn for my 5 Parsecs from Home campaign. With Galactic Solutions shipyard, mutant bug factory, and now computer systems destroyed, the company is completely crippled. However, after the last battle, Baffy received an anonymous transmission about a secret Galactic Solutions operation held amongst some ancient ruins of Korvar Alpha. With Rhett gone on a mission to recruit aid from some of Talfo Yaris's trade partners, and Dr. O helping Talfo's team with technical work at their base, the rest of Gibbs' renegades travel to the coordinates they were given, but are surprised to find just ruins. Supposing Galactic Solutions might have an underground hideout, the crew has started scouring the ruins when they see a familiar starship fly overhead. Gibbs' Renegade's only patron is Talfo Yaris, here in the Korvar cluster. The crew has 2 rivals, 16 credits, 2 story points remaining, and 1 quest rumor. Captain Danik Kral has 4 experience points after a close call nearly took him out last battle. He's still wearing combat armor and carrying his blast rifle with the quality sight and his hand cannon with the laser sight, and he's carrying the marksman's rifle they recovered from a fallen enemy in the last battle. Baffy is loaded with equipment, carrying his auto rifle with the tracker sight, his machine pistol, and now a blade to help him in case he gets into a brawl. He's carrying an insta-wall and a screen generator, and is now wearing the suit of stealth gear that the team found back on turn 9. He has 5 experience points. Beldara also has a blade now, as well as her rattle gun with the nano sludge modification, a blast pistol, a screen generator, and flex armor. She has 4 experience points. Ugrok has 1 experience point after finally upgrading his combat skill to +1. He has a military rifle, his shatter axe, his combat armor, and the flak screen that can help against area effect attacks. And I will remember in this game that he had a neural optimizer implanted a couple turns back that makes him immune to being stunned. Charlie is loaded for battle with his rattle gun, glare sword, and combat armor. Rhett is gone for 1 more turn on a secret mission that a character event sent him on recently. And Dr. O is busy this turn helping Talfo Yaris' team with some projects at their base. To start off the turn, we're going to do 1 more battle here in the Korvar cluster, so we won't be traveling. And now for upkeep, Rhett is currently off on a side quest. He was unavailable last turn and will be unavailable this turn as well. And while he is gone, he requires no upkeep, so I'll only be paying 1 credit for upkeep this turn. And since I have nothing to pay off and no one in the medical bay, I'll go to my crew tasks. I'm going to start with having Danik and Baffy both go exploring. At the end of the last round, Baffy got some type of message, and they're going to go try to track down what this message is all about. Danik is going to get a 91, and Baffy 29. Well, this makes sense narratively. Danik has made a useful contact, so perhaps this is somebody that can tell them a little more about the message that Baffy received, and it works out well because next turn they're probably going to be traveling, and on the next campaign turn they can add +1 to their choice of recruit, find a patron, or track a rival. And Baffy has found an alien merchant. Give him any item, then roll on the loot table. I'm not really sure if this is supposed to be an item that character has equipped, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. Probably going to turn out not in my favor, but I'm going to have Baffy give up his machine pistol to make a roll on the loot table. On the main loot table, 29. On the sub table, 43. And the final table, 40. Okay, well, I think I got the short end of the stick here. The 29 is a damaged weapon. The 43 is an energy weapon, and then the 40 is an infantry laser. So I don't have any of these, so that could be useful, but I've also got lots of other rifles with decent distances, but maybe I'll repair this at some point. Back on turn 5, my team found a damaged concealed blade, and Dr. O is going to try to repair that. What this does is if a character begins the round within 2 inches of an opponent, they may throw the blade as a free action before doing anything else. Roll to hit normally, resolving the hit with damage plus 0. The blade can be used once per battle and is replaced afterwards for free. So this can be some good insurance if one of my guys ends up close to an enemy. Dr. O's Savvy gives him a +3, and the Repair Bot gives him another +1. Total of +4, easily gets at least a 6. And they'll go ahead and give that to Ugrok. I currently have 2 rivals, and I'm going to send Charlie on a decoy mission to try to avoid them. But with only 1 character on decoy, there is a chance I could end up fighting one of those this round. And then I'm going to send Ugrok and Beldara both trading. And I also get a free roll on the trade table because of the merchant link that I bought for my ship. Ugrok gets 61, Beldara gets 58, and the free trade action 75. Alright, well, I found a bunch of weapons here. Ugrok 61 gives them a basic firearm, your choice of a handgun, colony rifle, or shotgun. I guess I'll go ahead and choose a handgun to give to Baffy to replace the machine pistol he got rid of. Beldara rolled up an ordnance. You receive 3 grenades, choice of frack or dazzle. I'll go ahead and choose frack, but I probably won't be using these. Unfortunately, grenades count as weapons, not as consumables, so they take up one of the 3 weapon slots. So my team is so kitted out that I'm not sure if I really have room for those, but we'll take frack grenades anyway. And then my extra roll was Army Surplus, your choice of an auto rifle, blast pistol, or glare sword. I guess I'll grab another auto rifle, and I'll give that to Ugrok in place of his military rifle. For my battle, since I didn't send anyone to look for patrons, I'm planning to do a quest mission, but first I have to see if a rival follows me. Since Charlie's out on a decoy mission, I'll only face a rival on a roll of a 1 on a d6. Alright, so I can do my quest mission. I'll start with rolling up a deployment condition. 30. Okay, that'll be interesting. A brief engagement. At the end of each round, roll 2d6. If the roll is equal to or below the round number, the game ends inconclusively. And next, I'll roll a notable sight. 5. And this is another battle with nothing special. For the quest objective, 3. Okay, I don't think I've done a search mission before. Alright, so I'll explain this more when we look at the table setup, but basically my team needs to search all the prominent terrain features on the board to search out whatever it is they're looking for. Alright, now to find out who my enemy is, starting with the category, 40, and specifically 4. For a quest, the 40 gives me hired muscle. Alright, well this works well for what I've got planned. Unknown mercs. No extra enemies, panic on a 1 or 2, speed of 5, combat skill of +1, toughness of 4. They have the tactical AI, and the fringe is crawling with mercenary bands looking to make credits for paramilitary work. Most are sort of honorable, at least when dealing with other professionals. And they have the special let's call it a day. If they're ever down to just 1 or 2 figures remaining, they'll accept ending the fight at the end of any round. Neither side holds the field in this case. For the number of opponents, since this is the last battle in my current block or chapter of my campaign, I'm just going to bump the enemy all the way up to a size of 6 and not even bother rolling anything, which means they'll have 1 specialist and they'll have 1 lieutenant. And for unique individuals, I'm not even going to roll that because the Callous Merc Zarvaros will be returning to lead this crew of mercenaries. And as a reminder, he's got a movement of 4, a high combat skill of +2, toughness of 5. He's also tactical and has a point of luck, and he carries an infantry laser and a blade. And as far as the weapons the regular mercenaries are carrying, the regular ones are carrying a 5 and the specialist a 2. Alright, so these enemies are going to be looking at moving into close combat. The regular guys are carrying hand lasers, and their specialist will have an auto rifle. This battle takes place on Korvar Alpha, which is the location of the earliest settlements in the Korvar cluster. As such, there are many ancient ruins here. The coordinates the crew received have pointed them to this general area of the planet, and they are now searching for a way to access a supposed underground hideout. Though they traveled to this dwarf planet by a local transport, and have hiked by foot to their current location, they were somehow tracked by the familiar Zarvaras. However, the troops he has with him don't seem to be Galactic Solutions soldiers. The objective for this mission is to search. So my team has to move into one of the terrain features on the board and use a combat action to make a search. And for that, they roll a d6, and on a 5 or 6, what they're looking for is in that specific structure. With these two structures over here, since they're close to my team, I'll say I have to get a 6 in this one to find what I'm looking for, and I'll say I can't search this one because I actually have 2 of my figures already in contact with that. So the features to search will be this one on a 6 and all the other ones here, 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 hopefully not all the way down there on a 5 or a 6. And if I am somehow able to search all of those locations and don't end up finding what I'm looking for in any of them, the mission cannot be won. Taking a look at my side of the board, we've got Ugrak here, Charlie, Beldara, and down here we've got Danik and Baffy. My team's kind of spread out so they can try to search as much of this battlefield as possible and try not to get flanked by the opponent, who are set up on the other side of the board with 2 regular troopers here, their specialist with the auto rifle, their lieutenant is behind this outcropping with another one of their soldiers. Over here they have their final regular soldier, and then Zarvaras, who's just landed his starship. I'll start out with trying to seize the initiative. Charlie's Savvy gives me a +2. I'm saying my scanner bot is with Rhett on Tess, so I don't get that bonus. And these enemies are hired muscle, which gives me a -1. So just a +1 to this. And I get a 12, which is more than the 10 that I need. So each of my figures can make a move. So going over here to my side of the board, I'll start out with having Charlie kind of head through this little area here. He can move 4 inches only to about there. And then Ugrak, with his movement of 5, he can come this direction, right about to there. And then for the rest of my team, Beldara, with her upgraded movement of 5, can come around here. Danik is going to move 5 inches into this building. And then Baffy, he's got a movement of 7. He's going to move way out here to right about there. I'll roll up reaction rolls for the first round, and Danik can use a 4, and that's all. However, I'll give him one of the 6s just so he'll act with the rest of the crew, and we'll go over to the enemy phase. And they'll start out with having this trooper here dash right up here about 5 inches. He can move 6 on a dash. And then Zarvaras, he can move 6 on a dash. He'll run right up here to the previous trooper's position. Then we'll go to this trooper here. He can dash 6 inches right up here to the front corner of this. And then pivoting around to the back corner of the table to get a better view of things, their lieutenant is going to run 6 inches, dash 6 inches up here. Their specialist is going to climb this about 4 inches to the top, 3.5 maybe to the top, and another 3.5 inches over to this vantage point where she can see out there. And then we'll move the table a little more here for these last 2 troopers, who will both dash 6 inches this direction. This one will end up kind of out in the open. Maybe he'll just hug this wall over here to try to get a little bit of cover. And I'll move back around to the front side of the board, starting with Ugrak. He is going to dash 7 inches around here, heading towards this building. And then Charlie, he can move 4 inches right inside of this. And then he will use a combat action to search out this location. This is the one that I said I have to roll a 6 for. So that is not the right location. And then I'll go to Beldara, and she is going to move 3 inches over by this building, and then about 3.5 inches up, which will put her right here, getting ready to move into a position to fire on the enemy next round. And then Danik, who is down below her, he is going to dash 7 inches out here, trying to keep this pillar here between him and that specialist up there. And for Baffy back here, I'd like him to move towards this structure to search this little cave, but that's going to put him right out in the open. So instead he's going to come over this way to try to keep the enemies from flanking them. Reactions for the next round. Much better this time. I've got a 1, 2, and a 4 I can use. So as both teams move into position, I'm going to give my 1 to Ugrak, my 2 to Beldara, and my 4 to Danik, and we'll have him move forward a little, right up here by this pillar. And from right there, he can see all the way down to that trooper, and that is within the 20-inch range of his blast rifle with that scope attached. And the scope also lets me reroll 1s. I'll say this guy has cover, so Danik needs a 6. He's got a +2 combat. And with a total of 4, he unfortunately misses that. As Danik's blast rifle just blasts some rock away in front of that trooper downrange, we'll move to Beldara, who's just going to take a step forward here into some cover. And from right there, she can see 24 inches to that specialist in that tower. So her nano sludge counteracts the heavy trait. So she's got her +1 combat. The enemy does have cover, so she needs a 6. First shot hits against a toughness of 4. Causes a stun. Second shot. That also hits with the +1. Toughness of 4. Causes a second stun, and the third shot, even with the +1, that misses. So this enemy specialist thinks she's got a great position up here, but Beldara just unloads her rattle gun, pushing her back a couple inches and giving her a couple stuns. And then going around to the front of the board, Ugrak can move 5 inches and get just barely inside this building. And from there, he will search the location. Using his combat action to do this, he needs a 5 or higher. Nope, they still haven't found what they're looking for. And then moving to the enemy phase, starting with this mercenary over here, he can run 6 inches over to here. And even though there's holes in these walls kind of throughout the battlefield, I'm saying they can't see through those. Then Zarvaros is going to run up here and take that trooper's previous cover. Then they'll have this mercenary run right up here behind this. They'll have their lieutenant dash over here right behind that pillar. Then going around to the back of the table, this specialist here, I realized, was actually out of range to be shot twice, so she would have only been shot once, so she'll move forward, staying completely out of sight, and get rid of her stun. And then for their last 2 mercenaries over here, this one will move and dash 6 inches right up here, staying in cover. And their other mercenary will just run behind this pillar. And while I'm taking a look at the back side of my board, Baffy, who's over here, is going to move 7 inches right up over here. And from right there, he can see more than 24 inches to that mercenary there. And he will fire his auto rifle. And since he's tucked right up against that rock, I'll give him cover. So Baffy does need a 6 since he still has +0 combat. First shot misses, and second shot with his auto rifle, unfortunately, also misses. And now looking back at the front side of the board, Charlie, who's right over here, can move 6 inches forward, which will put him right around here. And thinking about the location of where Zarvaros is, I think I'm going to actually move him a little bit more this direction. I'll roll up a battle event for the end of the round, 87. I rolled this result in my first game, Lost. A random crew member loses their way and they miss out on the rest of the battle. I haven't taken down any of these mercenaries yet, so I'm going to go ahead and burn through a story point to re-roll this. And I get 93. Okay, and here's another one I've rolled up a couple times. I found something. I randomly select a crew member, then place a marker 1d6 inches from them. The enemy will ignore it, and if a crew member moves into contact with it and spends an action, I get to roll up a loot that they can immediately use. For who it's next to, we'll go Danik, Baffy, Beldara, Ugrok, then Charlie. So that is next to Ugrok, and it will be 6 inches from him, that direction. I actually don't know if this could have rolled up to be in a worse location. 6 inches from him this direction. We'll put this little crate right out here. And if someone happens to get out there and be totally surrounded by all the enemy, I can get a bonus loot. But at least nobody from my team got lost. So not much has happened here in the first 2 rounds. I've fired off some of my weapons, but haven't really been able to do much with those. And we'll see what happens here in the next round. For my reaction rolls, I can use just a 2. Wow. Not doing so well on my reaction rolls. So I'll give that 2 to Baffy, clear around on the back side of the board. And he's going to try this shot again over here at this mercenary. The enemy has cover, and since Baffy shot at him last turn, his tracker sight gives him a +1 to this. So that bumps up to a 6. That is a hit. Against a toughness of 4, that takes him down. So after missing his previous shots, Baffy takes a look into his sights, finds his target, and takes down the mercenary. Moving to the enemy phase, we'll start with the mercenary over here by Ugrok. Tactical enemies will only move into brawls if they have a higher combat skill, and this mercenary matches combat skills with Ugrok, so he is just going to move over here, poke his head around the corner, and fire his hand laser. And this could be bad news because hand lasers have the snapshot ability, which give them +1 if they're within 6 inches, and the pistol bonus gives him +1 within 6 inches. So a total of +3 with his combat. This is a wide open shot, so Ugrok's hoping this guy rolls a 1. And that is a total of 5, so that is a hit against Ugrok's toughness of 5. Alright, he blocks that with his toughness, and Ugrok, I'll remember this game, has a neural inhibitor which prevents him from being stunned. However, I believe he is still pushed back an inch for failing his toughness roll. And then Zarvaros is just going to move and dash over here next to the mercenary to give some support in attacking Ugrok. Continuing around the board here to the middle of the battlefield, this mercenary is going to run kind of into this debris over here. And their lieutenant is going to do the same. They're trying to stay out of view of enemies. while at the same time trying to make the opponents have to move into a position so the specialist can shoot at them. She can currently move over just a little bit so that she can see Beldara down there and return fire against her. The specialist has +1 combat, firing into cover, so needing a total of 6. First shot misses, and the second shot also misses, not aimed. And lastly, this mercenary over here, the fact that they have just 9-inch range hand lasers really puts them at a disadvantage. He's going to move over here, trying to stay in cover and trying to move into a position where he can maybe shoot at one of my guys. And then for my turn, going back to this specialist in Beldara, Beldara will now fire her rattle gun back. Beldara is firing into cover, but she has a total of +2 with her combat and the nano sludge since she didn't move this turn. She gets to reroll 1s. That is a hit against toughness 4, causes a stun, and again that pushes the specialist back just far enough that she is now out of range of Beldara's rattle gun. And going around to the front of the board, Charlie is going to move 4 inches around here, kind of putting himself out in the open just enough so that he can see this mercenary and he'll fire his rattle gun. The mercenary has cover, but Charlie has a +2 to his combat. First shot hits against a toughness of 4. That causes a stun. Second shot, that one misses with a total of 4. And the third shot, that one also misses. So this mercenary is pushed back an inch and stunned. And then Danik, he is going to just move 5 inches into the middle of all of this and use his combat action to search this location. On a 5 or 6, this is what the team is looking for, and it is. Having achieved the win condition for this battle, normally you would roll to see if the enemy just flees at this point. However, I'm just going to ignore this and keep the battle going, because instead of finding the hidden base at the exact coordinates their tracker shows it should be, Danik realizes the base doesn't actually exist, and someone has used this mission to lure them here and ambush them. So Danik radios the crew to let them know the bad news, which enrages Ugrok, so he's just going to charge out here and enter a brawl with this mercenary. And since Ugrok is the same speed as his opponent, he gets the full +2 bonus for his Shatter Axe and +1 for his combat skill. The enemy gets +1 for his combat and +1 for a pistol, and Ugrok, of course, gets 2 dice rolls. And Ugrok wins with a total of 8 against 7. The Shatter Axe has a damage rating of +3 against toughness of 4, and that easily takes down the mercenary. And I try to keep my violence pretty light on this show, but this guy's probably looking like Jango Fett after his battle with Mace Windu. I'll go ahead and make some panic rolls. These guys panic on a 1 or a 2. 2 guys went down this round, and 1 more is fleeing. And even though she is arguably their best soldier on the battlefield, their specialist has had a couple close calls with Beldara's rattle gun, and so she is going to run off the battlefield. I'll roll up reactions for the next round. Wow, and some more bad rolls. Charlie can use the 3, and Danik can use one of the 4s. While I would have liked to have gotten some more characters that could go in the quick phase, this will work pretty well. I'll go ahead and have Charlie just open fire at that mercenary again. He didn't move, so he gets his normal +2 combat. This is a wide open shot now. First shot hits, toughness of 4, causes a stun. Second shot, that one misses, but he hasn't moved, so he is aiming. Reshooting the second shot, misses the second time. And the third and final shot, that is a total of 5, so that hits wide open. toughness of 4, another stun. And this mercenary is taken out by the 3 stuns and you're out rule. And from there we'll go to Danik, who is going to climb up here. And from right there, he is going to shoot down on the lieutenant who's got cover. And he's going to be using his hand cannon, which is a pistol, so it gets +1 to hit within 6 inches, and it has a laser sight, which gives it another +1. And he's got a +2 combat, so a total of +4 to this. Single shot, that hits. And the lieutenant has a toughness of 4. And even with the +2 damage that weapon deals, the lieutenant's just stunned. So he gets pushed back an inch, and instead of giving him a stun marker, we'll just go to the enemy phase, where he is going to now fire his hand laser at Danik. And the lieutenant also has a +4 with his +2 combat, +1 for being a pistol, and +1 for the weapon's snapshot. And so that easily hits. Danik has a toughness of 5. It just stuns him. So now Danik is pushed back an inch, kind of into some of this rubble, and we'll try to get the stun marker to stay near him. And from there we'll go around to the back of the board, where the 1 regular mercenary remaining is going to just move forward a few inches. Hand lasers have a range of 9 inches. And Baffy is just barely within that range, so he's going to fire at him. From that distance, the hand laser does not get the pistol bonus or the snapshot bonus. And also being within 9 inches, Baffy's stealth gear does not give him any added protection. So this is a wide open shot. The mercenary has +1 combat. That does hit Baffy. Baffy's toughness is only 3. That gets past his toughness. Baffy does have a screen generator, 5 or higher to save, and he does not save. So after Baffy gunned down one of the mercenaries, this other one kind of comes out of nowhere, fires a shot. Baffy does not have his friend Danik to give him cover like he did in the last battle, and Baffy goes down. And from there, we're going to go around to the front side of the board, where Zarvaros is going to activate. He's just going to move over here. Since he has a higher combat skill than Ugrok, he will charge into a brawl. With Zarvaros' blade, he's got a total of +4 to his combat against Ugrok's +3. However, Ugrok ends up winning with a total of 9 against 8. Zarvaros does have a toughness of 5, but with the +3 damage of that Shatter Axe, that hits him. Zarvaros, however, does have a point of luck, so he is going to end up moving 4 inches in that direction. So 4 inches this direction, we'll put Zarvaros over here. So apparently he came around this corner, but Ugrok is waiting for him. So Zarvaros had to kind of dodge out of the way, ending up over here. And then we'll go to Ugrok's turn with my slow phase. He could turn and just shoot at him, but Ugrok wants to finish things off the old-fashioned way. So he's going to run over here and enter another brawl. So same thing, +4 for Zarvaros and +3 for Ugrok. That is not good. Luckily, Ugrok can ignore this one. Otherwise, a 1 would have given an additional hit to Zarvaros, but Zarvaros does win with a 9 against a 7. A blade deals +1 damage against Ugrok's toughness of 5. That gets past his toughness. Ugrok has his combat armor, save of a 5 or a 6. That gets past his armor. Ugrok thought he'd have the easy kill here, but Zarvaros turned out to be a better hand-to-hand fighter than he was, and Ugrok goes down. With 2 members of Gibbs Renegades getting knocked out of the battle, we go over to Beldara. From where she is, she can't see any of the enemies, but she can move into position here. And she's not above doing what she needs to take out the enemy. So she's going to fire her rattle gun right down here at Zarvaros's back. She had to move to get into that position so she doesn't get her bonus from the nano sludge. So she has just a +1 combat. She needs a 6 to hit because of cover. First shot, that hits with the +1 against Zarvaros's toughness of 5. That stuns him. She's going to fire her second shot. That one misses, and her third shot. That one's not aimed, so just a stun for Zarvaros. So this callous mercenary just gets shoved over a bit as bullets ricochet around him. And he gets his stun. And at the end of the round, I'll roll up a battle event. 28. 28 is an ammo fault. Select a random figure of your crew. If they fired a weapon last round, it cannot be used the rest of the battle. If they did not, select a random carried weapon, which can be fired only once this battle. So I'll go 1 and 2 as Danik, 3 and 4 Beldara, and 5 and 6 Charlie. And that is Beldara. So I guess the reason why she missed all those shots against Zarvaros is because her rattle gun jammed. So she'll have to ditch that and pull out her blast pistol. But I'll go ahead and roll up panic rolls for the enemy. And a 2 means one of them flees. And one thing to point out about my enemies, the unknown mercs have let's just call it a day. If they're down to 1 or 2 figures remaining, they'll accept ending the fight at the end of any round. Neither side holds the field in this case. I believe if they did this, the unique individual would leave with them, and it seems like it's a choice I can make. I do think I'm in a pretty good position here to actually take down the rest of the enemies. If Charlie's able to act in the quick phase, he will be able to get over here and take a wide open shot at Zarvaros, which will probably take him down considering he has a rattle gun. In the middle of the board, their lieutenant would actually be their figure that would end up running away from the panic roll because he's closest to their side of the table. And that would leave just their one lowly trooper who's hanging out over here. And even though Beldara is down to just a blast pistol and Danik has a stun, I think the team could end up easily overwhelming this one last trooper, which would then win me the battle. So instead, I'm just going to have these enemies decide they're probably better off facing me another day, and Zarvaros and his team are going to escape. Moving on to my post-battle activities. Since I did not hold the battlefield, I don't have to roll to see if these enemies become rivals. And since this was a quest battle, I'll be rolling a d6 and adding +1 because I currently have 1 quest rumor. However, I did not technically win this battle, since I took advantage of the unknown merc's ability to flee the battlefield. It counts as nobody winning, so I get a -2 to this roll. So a d6 -1 for a total of 5. And on a modified score of a 4, 5, or 6, the crew gains an additional quest rumor. Also, if the modifier is 4 or higher, I have to roll a d6, and on a 5 or 6, the next step has to be on another world. I'm planning to travel at the start of the next turn anyway, so I won't bother rolling that. And next, I'll roll to see how many credits I get paid for this mission. 6. So even though I didn't win the battle, the crew still finds 6 credits worth of loot or salvage they were able to find on the battlefield. However, speaking of finding things on the battlefield, I don't get to roll on a battlefield find because I did not technically hold the battlefield. And as well as getting paid whether you win or lose, you also get a roll on the loot table, win or lose. The last few battles I've been doing patron missions for Talfo Yaris, which has been getting me 2 loots, but I just get 1 this round. For the main loot table, a 10. For the subcategory, a 35. And for the actual item, 16. And my loot might as well have been just a single credit, as the 10 gets me a weapon, the 35 gets me a slug weapon, And the 16 gets me just a scrap pistol, which I'll be selling for 1 credit here shortly. And now for the important rules, to find out the fate of Baffy and Ugrok. Baffy was taken down by one of the regular mercenaries. 20. Okay, I can live with that. That is equipment loss. A random carried item is damaged. So Baffy has a pile of items in his possession. Let's see which one of them gets damaged. And that's his screen generator, which I guess is fitting. Apparently he got hit with that laser blast and it just short-circuited his screen generator and kind of knocked him out. And even though the actual result was equipment loss, the item isn't actually lost, it's just damaged. And now for Ugrok. 25. Well, that is the exact same result. And Ugrok's carrying 5 items. And I guess Zarvaros's blade just sliced across Ugrok's flak screen. And that will just need to be repaired. So my team literally dodged some bullets there with their injury rolls. And now for experience points. Since Baffy and Ugrok both became casualties, they only gain 1 experience point. However, Baffy was the first character to inflict a casualty, so he gains a bonus 1 there. And then Danik and Beldara both survived, but since they didn't win, they only gain 2 experience points. Charlie, of course, does not gain experience. Danik now has 6 experience points, so he is going to use those all to increase his toughness up to 5. And Baffy has 7 experience points, so he is going to use those all to increase his reaction score. My team has not been doing well on the reaction rolls lately, so maybe that'll help them in their next battle. Next, for buying and selling, I'm going to opt to sell up to 3 undamaged items. At the start of the turn, I found 3 frack grenades. I already had 1 of those, so I'll sell 2 of those, and then I'll sell that scrap pistol I just got for 3 total credits. And then instead of purchasing on one of these tables, I want to head into a red zone planet when I come back for turn number 12. These battles are found in the back of the book, and they just add some extra challenge, which I think will be good for my powered up team. You have to play at least 10 campaign turns. You have to pay 15 credits for a licensing fee, so I'll pay that, and I must have at least 7 crew members, which I have. So once you have this license, when traveling, you may opt to visit a world in a red zone. On such a world, all missions are assumed to be red jobs, regardless of their types. Next, I'll roll up a campaign event. 5. So the life support systems on the ship need to be upgraded badly. This will cost me 1d6 credits, and the ship cannot be flown until it's paid. I will point out that this isn't damage to the ship, it's just something that has to be paid before it can fly, which is unfortunate because I do have some ship repair parts I found last turn that can pay for hull damage. So I need to pay 3 credits to upgrade my life support systems, so I'll just go ahead and pay that out of my excess. For my character event, since Rhett's off on his side quest, he's not allowed to participate in any events, so we'll leave him out of this. And then since Dr. O is back at Talfo's base, I'm just going to leave him out of this role as well. And since Charlie's not allowed to participate in character events, we'll go Danik, Baffy, Beldara, then Ugrok. And that goes to Beldara, and her event is 76. Wow, this is a really good roll. You feel great. Eating well must be paying off. Put a note on the record sheet. The next time this character would be forced to roll on the injury table, the roll is ignored. So she's got kind of a get out of jail free card there. As Danik and the others were regrouping from the battle, they were trying to figure out who the mercenaries were that Zalvaros was working with, and if Galactic Solutions, or someone else, had lured the crew into this trap. Just then, a familiar shuttle broke through the clouds and landed nearby. Rhett climbed out of Tess and shouted to the group, "They took Dr. O. We need to save him." If you're watching this video around the time it released, there will be a planned break before the next battle. Originally, when I started my campaign, I said I'd be playing 20 turns, but based on how my story is unfolding, and so as to not drag out the adventure too far, I'll only be playing 5 or 6 more battles for that final season. The break will probably be 7 or 8 weeks long, so be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the conclusion to this exciting campaign. I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming. Thank you for watching, and until next time, play well.